Welcome to Your Need to Know. I'm your host, Catherine Reed, and today we're going to be talking with Patti Klein, the Executive Director of Rebuilding Together of Arlington, Fairfax, and Falls Church City. Thank you so much for being here, Patti.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So this is a program I had not heard of until very recently, and I'm surprised because you've actually been doing wonderful work in this area for a long time, but I know that you are also known by another name a while ago, Christmas in April.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about it, how you started and how you ended up where you are now.
I always say we're the best kept secret.
Yes, I would agree.
So about over 40 years ago, there was a guy in Texas called Bobby Trimble, and he was with his men's church group, and they decided to walk the walk instead of talk the talk. And every April they would go out into people's homes, particularly widows, and help them make repairs. And so it caught on, and it spread throughout the country. And in, I think, 2000, they decided to change the name nationally to Rebuilding Together.
Which was a good choice.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So people might know Rebuilding Together if they've come from a different part of the country because it is a similar name, but each of the organizations is actually a separate entity.
Right. Each one of us has a specific geographic location that we work in, but we all do a lot of the same things. And what that is we make critical home repairs for low-income homeowners. We do a lot of community revitalization as well.
And so 80%, I believe, of the people you serve are seniors.
Yes, the majority of the people we help are seniors. If you think about it, the majority of who we help are low-income homeowners, and particularly in this area, and to be able to own a home but be low income, you typically have had the home for a while.
Yeah, I mean, and certainly in Fairfax City, which is where I live,
right,
there are neighborhoods full of older homes, some of them original owners.
Yes.
But they're on a fixed income. Some of them are kind of getting some property tax relief.
Yes.
But they are physically incapable of maintaining the home, and they don't have funds from necessarily doing the routine maintenance. So how do you find these folks who need help? Through
a variety of ways. So one is we're in the Golden Gazette, which is a 50-plus newsletter that Fairfax County puts out. Fairfax County is good enough to include us in property tax waiver mailing. So we get a lot of people that call us. And we get referrals from people like physical therapists or occupational therapists that are working with clients that maybe just got discharged from the hospital or that are homebound or something like that. There's a variety of ways that people find out about us.
That's great. So how would somebody who has a neighbor, for instance, who might need some additional help, how would they actually make that referral to you?
Oh, it's pretty simple. They pick up the phone and they call us and say, hey, I have a neighbor. We talk to them about what it is we can do, what our qualifications are, or the neighbor themselves can call us up. Or they could go online and to our website at rebuildingtogether-aff.org and download an application and fill that out.
Oh, that's great, because a lot of people do things online.
Right.
And so it's great that you have the option of the online and also making that telephone call. So how would that process look if somebody actually said, my mom needs help and she lives at this address in Fairfax City? Walk us through what that process is.
Sure. So maybe it's a daughter or a son who calls up, and we can either send the application to the homeowner themselves or to the child, and then they can work together to complete the application. And in the application, we kind of ask who lives in the home, what's going on in the home, do they own the home, and actually what their income is. And we are income based, so we look at, they have to be at or below what's called 80% of the area median income. That's considered low income in this area. So for one person in the household, their income has to be $52,000 or less. And for each additional person in the household, it goes up about $7,000. I will tell you that the majority of the people we serve don't have incomes like that. They're significantly lower.
Pensions, I'm sure, Social Security income and pensions, I'm sure.
Right. So they complete the application, they mail us in the application, and then either a staff person or a skilled volunteer will go out to their home after we do a telephone interview to go and talk to them about what is needed. So the first thing we look at, of course, is why the person called. Why'd you call us? There's a reason why. So we look at that. Maybe it's a grab bar they need, or somebody just called me earlier today and their windows are leaking. We look at that, and then because we've done this for so long, we're really good at looking at the house from top to bottom and looking at things maybe you wouldn't even recognize that you need yourself. And we go around and look at all those things and kind of come up with just kind of a list of things that need to be done and kind of a priority list.
So you kind of triage the situation.
Yeah.
And especially with older people, I think one of the biggest impediments to people aging in place is mobility issues, especially if you've got stairs or uneven flooring or things that could make a person fall.
Right.
So these, I'm sure, some of the things maybe they're not even looking at the fact that there might be things that could be improved so that it's safer for them.
Right. And the way to look at it, it's safer for everybody, right? I mean, aging in place is our #1 priority. Aging in place and safety and health are huge things for us. So we go and we look at things like putting grab bars in the bathroom. And a lot of times people are like, oh, I'm not ready for that yet. And I'm like, hey, I'm a lady, I shave my legs, I use the grab bar. And so you try to look at different reasons.
Universal, it's a universal thing. It's not an age thing, it's just that sometimes it's better to be safer.
Right, so we do that. We do comfort height toilets. We do double railings throughout the house. We do things like if people are using a cane or a walker, maybe the width of the step is not wide enough. So we make them wider so you could put a cane or a walker on there safely. All sorts of things like that.
So are ramps something that you do? Is that something that's kind of a common thing when people do have to go to a walker and they've got steps to even get in and out of the house?
We don't typically jump to a ramp to begin with, and oftentimes we'll talk to an occupational therapist or physical therapist to say, is this the best route? But we definitely do ramps. Providing people access into their home and out of their home is huge. We had, if you would bear with me, we had one incident where we had a firefighter from Fairfax County call us, and he said, can you help us? We get a call 2 to 3 times a week. A lady lives in her home, can't leave. She calls us to get her in and out of the house. So the fire department, they were happy to do it, but it pulls them away from what their core responsibility is. So we went out there, we raised the money, we worked with the firefighters, our team knew how to build it, they joined us, we built her a ramp. She's not calling them anymore.
Right, and it gives her some sense of empowerment and autonomy that she can come and go when she wants to without waiting for someone to have to come and help her.
Absolutely.
So you are a nonprofit, and you make a good point. So somebody needs some repair on their house. How is the money raised? How do you fund these projects?
Oh, we piece it together. So we're very fortunate to have a lot of partners. So we have corporations, we have a lot of faith-based communities, community groups that when we go out and work on a home, and particularly if it's a big group, they pay a sponsorship fee to have the opportunity to work on a home.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I like it. So it's all how you pitch it. But truly, we're not like a soup kitchen or people who feed that they're going to feed people no matter what, and they still have to raise the money. We're only going to work on the home if we could raise the money to work on the home. So we have to, a lot of times, ask the people working on the home to give us funding. We're also very grateful because Arlington and Fairfax County provide funding to us, mainly administrative cost. We write grants, we ask for donations, we'll figure out any way to get funding.
Well, and you've got a lot of volunteers. I think last year 1,200 was the figure I saw for the number of volunteers you had, and those volunteers worked on how many projects?
We worked on 74 projects. We worked on, or 73, 64 homes owned by low-income homeowners. We worked on 6 homes that are owned by by other nonprofits, so they're group homes for people with intellectual disabilities, physical disabilities, homeless shelters, and then we worked on 3 community properties. So we built community gardens.
Oh, wow. So you've got kind of two different types of projects. You've got your express projects.
Yes.
And then you've got really big projects, like you really did a major project in Fairfax City for a home there. So tell us a little bit about, the express projects and what those might be, and then explain a little bit about the really major thing you did.
Sure. So I'll start with our typical, and then I'll go to the really big one. So coming up is something called National Rebuilding Day, and that is, as you pointed out, we're part of a network of affiliates across the country. So on National Rebuilding Day, it kind of pays homage to our Christmas and April roots. And on the last Saturday of every April, we mobilize community members to go out and repair homes. So we will work on 30 houses just locally at the end of April. And each one of those groups will be anywhere from 15 to 40 people that work on the homes. And depending upon the group, they may go in and be painters and rakers and cleaners, or they may be a larger group like a contracting firm, a construction firm that guts things and rebuilds things and does amazing stuff. We do projects like that throughout the year as well. And then we have something called Rebuilding Together Express. So what we were finding is not everybody can wait till April, and not everybody needs 15 to 50 people working on their homes. So we created Rebuilding Together Express to address a set of 30 repairs that really look at the safe and healthy hazards in the homes, and particularly aging in place. So we have 3 to 5 volunteers that go out, and they do things like grab bars, double railings, raised toilets, handheld showers. We also can work on energy upgrades, things like a little bit of weather stripping and caulking. We do smoke and CO detectors. We change out furnace filters. We put in LED light bulbs. If you think about somebody that has to step on a ladder to change out a light bulb, putting in an LED that lasts for 10 years is great. So Rebuilding Together Express is fast. We're able to go in and out of the house in 4 hours and do the work, and it only takes 3 to 5 people to do the work.
And this can be done, I'm assuming, by weekend warriors.
Yes.
People who are not up for a major project, but it's like I can give so many hours on a weekend as part of this team of 4 people or however many to go in and do some of these smaller projects. And so that, I think that presents a wonderful opportunity for people who are like, I can't do big, but I can do small.
Right.
So when we come back, we've got a break coming up, but when we come back, I do want to talk in more depth with Patti Klein about some of the major remodeling they do that allows people to stay in their homes who are on a fixed income. That really is a lot of seniors in this area, many of them living in homes they've lived in for decades. So please join us after this break.
We are neighbors and best friends.
I love my sister.
My heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Our family is no less than any other family.
Welcome back to Your Need to Know. Today I'm talking with Patti Klein, who's the Executive Director for Rebuilding Together Arlington, Fairfax, and Falls Church City. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
So we were talking about some of the kinds of projects you do, and in addition to the small express projects, you have undertaken some remarkable rebuilds.
Yes. Last year we did the largest one, most complicated one ever. So last year we got a call from the city of Fairfax, and they pleaded with us and said, look, we have a homeowner and her son who have been out of their house for a year. Will you please help them? And what had happened is that they had moisture problems, water problems, and that caused termite problems, and the termites ate throughout the house. They had a little bit of money. They hired a contractor who was not licensed, who ended up doing things that really didn't need to be done. So when we first went to the house, it was gutted. There was nothing there. Really, no bathroom, no kitchen, no furnace. The electrical was horrible, no plumbing. And there was a lot of problems on the exterior as well.
Right, and so you're looking at this house and you're like, will it ever be habitable again? But you know, this woman and her son, they own the house, and so they were now paying for another place to live because their house was not even habitable. So you guys come in as kind of superheroes. And how long did that take, and how many people?
Well, it took us about 6 months to organize everything because it would cost so much. And what we did is went out into the community and talked to vendors to donate stuff. We talked to individual volunteers that we knew that were highly skilled. And so we put it all together, and it probably took from February to June to work on the house to have the mayor give her the keys back to her home. Wow. And they did remarkable stuff. They put in flooring, they put in electrical, they put in plumbing, they put in an accessible bathroom because she has rheumatoid arthritis. We had vendors that donated a whole new kitchen and installed the kitchen. We did vapor barriers under the house, and we did insulation. I mean, the entire house was rebuilt. We had one person who is a volunteer that volunteered 1,000 hours.
Wow.
One person that did 1,000 hours. And if it doesn't tell you about the rest of the people that volunteered, incredible effort.
It is an incredible effort. And you know, and it really benefits the entire community. To have a vacant house sitting there gutted and uninhabitable does nothing for the neighborhood.
No.
And that's why I love the idea that this is such a community-based program. It's kind of like you have to have people donate hours and materials, and you have to have unskilled people as well as highly skilled people in order to do these projects. I mean, it has to be done the right way. You know, and don't you find too that this gives people a sense of security in that so many seniors are the victims of scam artists?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I know that a person that sits on Commission on Aging is really, Tom Bash in Fairfax County is really trying to address this. That's a huge thing, and it's a learning curve. I mean, you've got to get 3 bids. You've got to make sure people are licensed and make sure they have credentials. You have to look at reviews of what people do. But people, older people are targets.
I know. I think, you know, people who just go door to door knocking.
Don't do it.
Yeah, right? And it's like, I can fix your roof, or I can, you know, that happens. And I live in Fairfax City.
Right.
And for many years, I lived in an older home, in an older neighborhood, and I would get those door knocks, or I'd get the flyers in the door that I can repair your roof, or take down your tree, or fix your gutters, or whatever. And it's like, yeah, and I can see where people are like, okay, sure, fine, do that, because I need it done.
Yeah.
And that's just not a good way to go.
And I want to tell you what was incredible about this project is people were clamoring to come and help. They loved it. The volunteers had such a good time. The homeowner had a great time. Her son, who is disabled, actually helped out the majority of the time and was able to work with people and get his hands dirty and feel pride in his new home.
Yeah, he helped to rebuild his own house.
He did.
How cool was
amazing.
That's great. So tell me about the person or the process you have for organizing these 1,200 volunteers.
Well, it depends. So we have a couple different paths that people can do. It could either be a group of volunteers, like a corporation that comes, or a faith-based group that comes. They come to us and they're pre-formed, and they come to us with a team leader or 2. We train them in the process of how to manage a project, how to organize volunteers, how to work with a homeowner. So we have those group of people. once in a while we manage groups, like we'll have a corporation that wants to do a day of service. They just want to come in and out. They don't want to have to manage anything. We'll manage it for them and give them a great event and an experience and something tangible, but at the same time giving the homeowner what they need. The other way that people can get involved is individuals, and it's really simple to get involved with us because they'll take people of all skill sets. I have none, and they'll let me work on them sometimes. So what they do, it's very simple, is they go to our website. There's an online application for individual volunteers, and it just asks you who you are, what kind of skill sets you have, are you skilled, are you a novice, do you want to learn? And then what we do is when you want to volunteer, so then what we do is we send out emails and say, hey, in the next 2 weeks we have these projects coming up, and we're going to be doing RT Express, which we have team leaders for, and we're going to be doing these particular projects in this particular area. Do you have these skills? Contact us. So you can ignore us for a year or two, or you can do it every week if you want. And we have some volunteers that do both.
That's fantastic. It really is. So I know that you're coming out to my Rotary Club to talk about the program. I'm in the Rotary Club of Centerville, Chantilly. And so you are available, or I'm sure you probably have other people who are also willing to be ambassadors for the program, for service clubs. And there are lots of different organizations where they could probably pull together a group if they knew how it was done and what it was about.
Right.
So how would somebody get in touch to request a speaker? I mean, I knew how to get in touch. Like, yeah, here's Patty's email. But how would people request a speaker for their organization or club?
Really simple. They could either call us at 703-528-1999, that's our main line, and just say, hey, I'm very interested in learning more about your organization, learning about how to get involved. We'll figure out exactly what somebody needs, what their interest level is, and be able to address that, do presentations. We go out to clubs, we go out to churches or faith-based groups, we go out to senior centers, whatever. We'll do all sorts of presentations. And then if they're interested, then we figure out at what level they want to fit in. So I did mention earlier that we do ask people who volunteer as groups to pay a sponsorship fee. So that goes towards materials and pulling together that project. And we work with people at all levels who want to do that.
And so I'm assuming this too is something year-round. I mean, there's probably in warmer weather, there's more outdoor things, and in the winter weather, there's probably more indoor things.
Yes.
And you cover, it says Arlington, Fairfax, and Falls Church, but I think one of the homes you recently did was in Alexandria.
Right. It is the Fairfax portion that's called Alexandria.
So it's in the county.
It's in the county, and we do also Herndon and Vienna, which are towns.
Right.
But we do have a sister affiliate in the city of Alexandria as well.
Oh, this is great then.
Yeah.
So you know, do you take younger people? If younger people, do they need to be accompanied? So is this, if an Eagle Scout wanted to do something as his Eagle Scout project, would that be something that's possible?
Sure. So we do have a minimum age requirement. It's 14 and older. And if they're under the age of 18, then they have to get a parent or guardian to sign certain forms. If they're with a group, they could be with adults. Individually, they have to come with a parent or guardian. But if they're with their faith-based group, they could come as long as there are adults there.
Do you get things like scouting troops?
So yes. So 2 years ago, we had 200 youth work on a facility that was Fellowship Square, which is a senior, it's apartments for seniors on low incomes, and 200 kids went out and worked on that property. So we work with youth.
That's fantastic, because again, you are a very well kept secret.
I know.
And so there's probably a lot of organizations who are like, we're looking for something to help kids, you know, in a variety of different projects. Sure. But this is a great one. So, you know, I would encourage Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, any Scouts, that this would be something that they can invest in. And so going forward, how do you, you know, hope to expand either the number of projects you're able to do, the number of volunteers that you're able to reach, and the number of organizations you're able to collaborate operate with?
Sure. So Rebuilding Together Express, which I was talking to you about, is really a great way for us to expand. And we're really trying right now to work with a lot of occupational therapists or physical therapists. So if you think of somebody who is going for hip or knee surgery, their home has to be ready for them, right? So if we talk to occupational therapists or physical therapists, they know those people. We want to prepare the home so that it's safe for them. We had, case in point, we went to a lady's home a couple years ago. She knew she was going to have knee surgery. We went there prior to her knee surgery. The day we went there, she had her checklist from her doctor, and she goes, "Oh, no, I can't get in the tub. I have a shower doors up." We're like, "Not a problem." We were there. We took the shower doors up, put shower curtain up. That way she could get in and out of the bathtub easily, plus the grab bars, the raised toilet and stuff. So that's one way we like to expand what we do. Partnering with different people, we are always looking for people to partner with us, and they can do it at any level. They can just say, "Hey, we like what we're doing." There's a guy that is a real estate guy. He said, "I heard what you're doing. I just want to give you money."
Wow.
We're like, "That's great. That will help us. You have no idea." So for every Rebuilding Together project, we average about $450 in materials. That helps us to do that, right?
Well, that's great to know that people can just write you a check. It's
Right.
like, I believe in what you're doing, but I don't want to paint or install
Right.
anything. They can give you money.
Right. And as we grow, we have to actually grow our staff as well, because we are a very small organization. We are 3 full-time, 2 part-time people that run an organization that repair, this year, 100 homes. We manage 1,200 volunteers. And so we will be hopefully expanding and going out there and doing more. So for every house, we have to assess it. Every house, we have to figure out what's needed. Every house, we have to get the materials for. Every house, we need to do assessment and work with the homeowner. But there's lots of opportunities to expand the services that we provide to the community and the benefit.
I think that's fantastic. And I know that there's probably people out there who are like, "Yes, sign me up." And I appreciate the fact that you were able to give us so much detail about the many ways in which people can support the organization and what you're trying to do, because, you know, 10,000 people a day are turning 65 in this country,
Right.
10,000 a day. So we need to look to the safety of people so that they can age in place. I think we're all going to be there.
Right.
We're all going to be there. I keep thinking we're all going to be there. So we need to care about the kind of work that you're doing in the community. So thank you very much for having been here, Patti. I hope that people will go to your website, and the website is rebuildingtogether-aff.org.
You got it.
Oh, there we go. This is what you need to know.